Claire. This is Iain Wauchope reporting live from Nature's Valley, Garden Route, South Africa. We've just had the prologue beginning, and here we've got our number one competitor with us, race favourite, hot favourite for the race 2013. This is the African Otter Trail Run, presented by Goo and Solomon. Sir, what is your name?
I'm AJ Calitz, and the only reason you said hot favourite is because I'm a ginger.
Ginger Ninja. This is the boy. Ginger Ninja, where is your hometown?
I'm from the flattest part of the world, Melkbosstrand in Cape Town, but luckily we have some mountains in and around Cape Town, so I'm hail from a mountain country.
And is that where you're still based? Well, now that you're a professional athlete, have you relocated to Colorado, USA?
No, I remain proudly South African and enjoy my braai and boerehorse, so staying locally for now.
And still Melkbosstrand?
Melkbosstrand on the beach.
Great. And so do you ever get time out for a bit of surfing, snorkeling?
Absolutely, I love surfing a little bit, having a swim with my dog and my wife, and the odd crayfish sometimes jumps into your suit. Sometimes that just happens.
So there you go. If you're looking for a trail run in South Africa, you just hook up with AJ and he'll get you surfing too while you're at it. So any avid surfers out there, give AJ a shout. But AJ, on to the Otter Trail Run 2013. You've just done the prologue. How did that go?
Prologue went well. I think I started a little bit more conservatively, as was the plan. I think I overcooked a little bit last year, but I had a nice scapegoat to follow, all in the line of Iain Wauchope with a nice green shirt on. Especially chosen because it camouflages between the bushes. So I had a bit of a incentive to run behind. Sort of what do you call those races where you have someone leading the race for the 800?
A rabbit.
A rabbit. You had a rabbit to follow.
Rabbit. Well, the race hasn't even started, and already we got fun and games happening here. A bit of strategy and sneaky games going on. So there, AJ is letting us know how he went about the prologue. But going back to last year's race, 2012, you also were one of the second athlete in history to break the 4-hour 30 barrier.
Behind yours truly.
On your first attempt, nogal. But what did you learn from last year that's going to help you perform even better this year round?
I think last year I arrived at the race a little bit cocky, and I think the route got one over me, as well as the esteemed young gentleman next to me. So I think the guys arriving here with a lot of speed, thinking they're going to run the whole race, are in for a bit of a surprise. I had a chat with the race organizer, Mr. Collins, last night, and I told him someone's going to break 4:15, and afterwards I thought to myself, it better not be me, because I'm going to go out too cocky and pop at the end. So, this race is a great equalizer. I think it's such a fantastic race because speed doesn't really help at all. It's what I like to call sort of the fingernail races. Those races where you really claw with your fingernails. And yours truly next to me has won 3 times out of 4 attempts. So he says that I'm the firm favourite. I disagree. I tipped him as a favourite to win. So I think he's got years in his legs, experience and route knowledge, which is very, very hard to top.
But AJ, we know the Collins brothers are all in for statistics and analysing data from previous years, and they do surveys and all those good things. And according to their results, poll results for 2013 hot favourites, you topping that list. How does that feel?
Well, that's because Ricky Lightfoot wasn't on the list.
Right, yes. So actually what's quite interesting is poor Ricky hasn't even arrived here yet, and the racing has begun. So Ricky is already starting on a back foot, but with that sort of pedigree, world champion coming across here, he's certainly going to give us a run for our money. What's your take on the international competitors? Apparently there's a couple of Kenyans thrown in the mix that people don't even know about, but when you've got 100 Kenyans all running probably sub 28-minute 10Ks, we're in for a little bit of a surprise. What's your take on the international group that's coming in to race tomorrow?
I think it's fantastic. I think it just makes our racing tougher, which in turn improves us as athletes. It's difficult for us sometimes to get international exposure, so it's great when they come here. Obviously it's a lot cheaper for us for them to fly here, so I think all the pressure's on them. I think Ricky's the odds-on favourite, is world champion, so all pressure on him. So if he wins, all is as it should be. The world is going on as it should be. But if he doesn't win, then all of a sudden people start to ask, yes, Ricky was beaten. So I think him being here takes a lot of pressure off, I think, the top South African guys, in that he's now the hot favourite and the one to watch. So the bullseyes on our backs have been removed and firmly placed on his broad shoulders. I hear he's quite a big guy. and he's a fellow ginger, so all the best to the man.
Excellent. And tell me, on the ladies' race, what do you take of the ladies' race? Who do you think is going to be out there mixing it up, and who's your favourite to take the title?
I heard some rumours that Chrissy Mole was tipped to come, and then she's not going to come anymore. So she had a good victory last year. I think she looked very comfortable. Lundy, I think last year was not on top form. She had a slight illness coming into the race. This year, I trained with her a little, and we ran portions of the Otter and arounds, and she's in really, really great form. So my tip would be Lundy. New Zealand girl coming over that I don't know anything about, but apparently she's quite a quality runner as well. Whether her Vibrant Five Fingers survive the race will be something else to fathom, because as you well know, it's quite rough out there. But she's also, as you said, a pedigree athlete. But my hot tip for the race, definitely Lundy.
Yeah, that's quite an interesting remark about the footwear chosen for this route. Sebastian Chagnot from North Face last year competed, and his comment at the end of the event, it's probably one of the most technical trail runs he's ever done. So certainly it'll be interesting to see how the international runners compare this race to other international events. But talking about international events, AJ, you've done a couple yourself, and you've actually won a race recently in France. Tell us about your international experience so far.
Well, one was a DNF, which was a little bit of a letdown. I had the privilege to run again in Zagama against, royalty of trail running, Calitz and Iain, which was an incredible experience. It ended in tears, literally, coming down on my knee, unfortunately, which was a great letdown. I was having a great race up until that stage, and such is life. That happens sometimes. So started at Verdun, 100k challenge in France with a bit of a bruised and sore knee and not having run in about 3 weeks. But that race went really well. So it just goes to show you that sometimes rest is the best medicine. And over-rested, under-trained, and I still had probably one of the races of my life. And that was also for aspiring international runners. If you want to see a 100k race with more or less Otter type technicality, go and try Verdun. 7,600 meters climbing over 100k's.
And did you end up winning that race, AJ?
Yes, I did. I at one stage had quite a big lead and got slightly lost about an hour. So I ended up winning the race by about 15 minutes when I had about an hour's 20 minutes lead. So not a dream day, but I was really feeling good, and I was surprised by the result, and incredible day out.
And just going back to your first international race, when you had the likes of Calitz and Iain to race against, and you fell on your knee and had to withdraw, at that point, where were you lying in the race, and at how far into the race was that?
I ran the first probably about 16 or 17 k's with Kilian and Hernandez, and I forcefully had to slow down a little bit. The pace was incredibly hot up front, and I made a sort of a calculated decision to take a little bit easier out the next climb. So I dropped back to sort of 5th to 15th more or less. The bunches were relatively close together, and then down one hill I decided to really go for it and try to make up some time again, which was about at the 28k mark, so with about 14k's, about 1/3 to go. The most disappointing part was there was only one major climb left, and it was only about 400 or 500 meters worth of climbing. So I'd done the hardest part of the race and didn't get the medal, so the finisher's medal. So hard lines, but I'll be back someday.
So looking into the future after this year's edition of the Otter Trail Run, what are your plans for 2014?
Sure. Definitely want to run around sort of the Drakensberg, yours truly's place of domicile, a little bit more. Towards the end of this year, doing Sky Run and Lesotho Sky, and there are a couple of interesting races around town. But next year, I've been invited to go back to Verdun, so definitely do that. And I'd really like to give a 100-miler a crack. One of the ones in the States, probably GU, one of my sponsors, are affiliated with a Hard Rock. So that might be one to do, although I heard that is basically like running on the moon. But I'd love to give it a crack. I'm very inexperienced in that sort of thing, so it'll definitely be just a trial run, not a trial run. And to gain some wisdom and experience.
Now, for the international runners out there, that everyone's familiar with the name of Ryan Sands. Tell us, AJ, what's your experience been racing against Ryan? What the results been? Have you managed to beat him at any stage in your short career so far?
I've had thank you for that. I've had the privilege of racing against Ryan once. We had the Red Bull Lionheart, which we run up a mountain and then run back down, and we did 4 times. Each time sort of a surf-style heat that the last 2 runners were eliminated. So That's my kind of running, straight up, straight down. So I had the privilege of getting one up on Ryan in that regard. So we haven't had a rematch yet, but I'm pretty sure he's chafing at the bit to have a go. I have no doubt that he's the top long-distance trail runner in South Africa. He's had an unfortunate year, but I hold him in the highest regard. And I think as the South African trail scene develops and we get more of the long and ultra-distance races, I think he'll be back in this country and get the results that he deserves, I feel.
Great. Well, all the best tomorrow.
Thank you.
Give it horns,
And
we'll see you at the finish line.
Fantastic. Hopefully this year I'll see you before you see me.
That's Iain Wauchope reporting live from Nature's Valley, Knysna, South Africa.
So Iain, what is it going to take to beat you? More specifically for me to beat you?
Well, put it this way, training 5 to 7 hours a week, if I can beat you on that, then when I start training 20 hours a week, I don't know what you're going to do. 50 hours?
Very, very, very confident answer. We got completely outmatched by Ricky Lightfoot today. What is your take on his race?
No, look, excellent. He's current world champion. He showed it, and we got up our game to be competitive with the best in the world. And that's why he was here, to show us what we need to do. And great. Let's see where we are next year. I think we're going to be looking for a 10-minute improvement at least on our times. What do you say?
Definitely sub 4 possible?
Definitely possible. I'm not saying you or I, but it will be. Someone will do it one day.
Fantastic. That's from the professor of the Otter Trail, Iain Wauchope.